we enter a little bit of a lull over in Euro 2024, I wanted to revisit my Premier League predictions for the upcoming season. I already made my predictions for the brand new campaign, but now we know the opening fixtures and we've seen a little bit of transfer activity. Has that swayed my opinion? Well, today we're going to find out. That's right, folks, back once again with another video. Today we're talking about the Premier League and, of course, my tip for the title for the brand new 2024-2025 season. Now, we've already made an early video. That was at the back end of the season, shortly after the championship final whistle. But now, since we now know the managers for the upcoming campaign, who, of course, is my tip for the title. Has it changed my opinion? Do I have a new favourites to go down? We're going to find out in just a second. Of course, if you're new, where you been? Smash your subscribe button. Your one-stop shop for Premier League is right here under one Rooski. Like I said, we've done this before, and again, the transfer activity hasn't really bubbled too much, but we do now know the managers that will take over the reins for the upcoming season, and that has swayed my opinion quite convincingly, and we're going to get into it right here, right now. Before that, though, again, shout out to the VIPs, the patrons. Smash the like if you can, but let's, of course, take a deep dive into this. Now, we're going to do it tier list style. That's right. I did use this approach for the bookies quite recently, but now we're going to take a little look at the my predictions for the title. I'll come at you very, very soon. Now, we'll do one more of these around about back end of July, once we've seen some more transfer activity bubble and maybe the kind of the waters have set somewhat. So we're going to take a little look at this. I'm going to start middle of the pack. And middle of the pack for me is Everton. That's right. Everton coming at you right here, right now. They're in 11th. I have them there, finishing 15th last time around. Now, there is a little bit of uncertainty with Everton. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes in regards to the ownership. If they got money to spend. I know they brought in a fella from Aston Villa for a chunky bit of change, but I don't know. I do believe in Sean Dyche. I think he's a great coach for the project that is Everton, and I think with him at the helm and without any points deductions, they should be middle of the pack, 11th spot for me. So I'm going to put them in the middle of the road here. For the right here, right now. Next up, we have 12th place, and it is Brighton Hove Albion. New manager at the helm. Don't know what we're going to get. Fabian Hoslier, I think he was on the books of St. Pauli most recently, who did a fantastic job to get to the Bundesliga. But I'm expecting a bit of a transitional period for him at Brighton. Don't get me wrong. I don't think they'll get relegated. They have the personnel, the players there. Just trying to get a hold of his brand of football. I think that's going to be the most trickiness for Brighton. But again, season stability, which in progression, when you look back, is a downgrade of one spot, 11th last season. So kind of where they were really under De Zerbi. But in my eyes, they're going to be into 12th. Into 13th spot, and it's no move, and that is Fulham. That's right. Keeping hold of Marco Silva. That's the main task. He's a great coach. I thought he might be lured elsewhere to maybe a Chelsea or something like that. But no, stuck to his guns, stuck with him. And at the moment, he is the manager of Fulham. I don't know if that will remain the case, because I am recording this just after Portugal's shock loss to Georgia. They might be looking for a new coach. They might go to Mourinho. They might go to Marco Silva. I don't know, but at the moment he's here, and he's the key reason that they are here. So non-mover into 13th spot. Into 14th spot, though, we have newbies. Leicester City, they do have a new manager, and that is Stevie Cooper, formerly of Forest. Did okay for Forest, got them promoted. Was out of work for a little bit, was kind of approached by a few clubs, but has made a point by going with Leicester. Leicester, of course, losing their manager to Chelsea. I think this is an okay move. I know it might not get the excitement levels for Leicester fans, but on the third party looking in, I think it's a steady, safe pair of hands. I think they'll be all right. I think this squad is decent, strong enough to be in this division. And to be honest with you, I think they'll be fine. They'll be fine here under Steve Cooper, and a good opportunity for him to regain some sort of credit in the managerial world. So a good move for Leicester. That's into 14th spot. I've actually moved him in the wrong spot, so he should be down here. 14th spot for Leicester City. Next up, we have 15th spot Wolves under Gary O'Neill. They're 14th last time, 15th this time, pretty much as you were. Don't really see too much of a shake-up, to be honest with you there. But going backwards a pinch. They were in that cluster of teams that could be 3 points off a 10th last season. So I expect a very similar sort of level between the cluster of these clubs here, as high as Everton into 11th spot. But Wolves under O'Neill, steady, safe pair of hands. Not sure what kind of money they got to strengthen their causes, but I think they're going to be struggling a little bit. I think this sort of territory is relegate. Sorry, this territory here is relegation sort of zone. So they're going to be looking over the shoulder somewhat for the good part of the season. Next up, we have 16th place. I've gone there, and it's Southampton. That's right, Southampton under Russell Martin. Of course, promoted via the playoffs, beating Leeds in the end, getting there over the line. Now, I have them the highest above Ipswich. I know Ipswich got promoted in automatics, but purely because Southampton, they've been to the Premier League before in recent times. They're not new to their environment. They know what the Premier League's going to be about. A lot of these players were playing in the Premier League as well. They bounced back at the first time. Just same can be said for Leicester. That's why I have them sticking around. They'll get it right this time around, and they'll put two poor other suckers to go down in my eyes. So Southampton, the only question mark is Russell Martin Ball equipped to survive in the Premier League? I think it will be. So a 16th spot for me, survival for Southampton right now. Next up, we have Bournemouth. Again, I'm always going to put Bournemouth there or thereabouts, but they had a great season, didn't they? Really, 12th place finish last time around, but they'll just survive into 17th spot under Areola. Last time around, there was a point where Areola was going to be looked like he was going to be binned off, but he managed to turn it around. But will lightning strike twice for him into this campaign? I don't know. So I think they're going to struggle, and they may get sucked into a relegation fight in the end. And again, depends on what they do transfer wise. If they bring in some more exciting players to keep them in the division, but ultimately they will struggle. Next up, we do have Ipswich Town. I have them going down, unfortunately, into 18th spot, just missing out. Same can be said for the likes of the previous season. I think all three teams, when they got promoted, got relegated. Luton, Burnley, and who was the other one? Sheffield United. Yeah, all three got. I don't anticipate that this time around. We've got Leicester surviving. We've got Southampton surviving, but I think Ipswich will be casualty here. Don't get me wrong, Kieran McKenna's done a fantastic job, and I think they may even flirt at the start of the season by being mid-table and looking safe. And then ultimately, Kieran McKenna may get swayed with another job, another opportunity, and then he might take it. He might take a Chelsea, for example. Let's say Chelsea doesn't work out for Marquesca, and then they come calling. He might take that opportunity, and then that ultimately will be the start of the downfall for Ipswich. That's what I'm expecting. But don't get me wrong, I think they're fantastic, and McKenna, and I'm elated for them to be here in the grand scheme of things, but ultimately they're going to go down. Unfortunately, joining them will be Brentford. What am I doing? Yeah, Brentford. I've kind of not saying I've seen the back, sick of the back teeth of them, but they've been on a downward trajectory for a while under Thomas Frank, and Thomas Frank has been linked with some high profile names and jobs and opportunities. And I think this will also be the season that he makes way, whether it be by choice or by performance. They did finish in 16th last time around. They were 10 points clear of the drop, but that drop zone was quite significant in the end. But when you take Nottingham Forest, Luton, Burnley, and Sheffield United out of the equation, Brentford were the worst team in the division last season, and that does include the likes of Everton, who had points deduction. So I think Brentford are on a road to nowhere right now. I think Thomas Frank should be looking for other opportunities, and then Brentford will be looking for a new, rejuvenated coach to kind of steamroll them back up the divisions. But currently they are going nowhere and fast. So Brentford going down, and they'll be joined by Nottingham Forest again. They struggled last season, 32 points for the campaign. I think they had some points deduction as well. But even with or without those, they would have been the next in line to go down. So I do think they're on a hiding to nothing, and they will be going down in this grand scheme of things. So let's move on forward to the top 10. We're back up here. Into this row here, and we're going to go with. We're going to push these down here a little bit because we want to make it look like what we're talking about here. So it's a 10th spot. It's Glasgow. It is Crystal Palace. I have them in 10th. They finished 10th last season. I'm hoping that they make actually a gradual increase into the top 10, but I think they're going to lose a couple of the key players. But hopefully Glasgow will continue. They'll reinvest and get it right and keep it moving in the right direction because they're looking good right now. I have them in 10th, Glasgow, and they should be happy with that. But I think if they can keep a hold of their key players, which I know they probably won't, they could make top 8 and beyond. Next up, we have 9th place. I have West Ham United. They're under Julio Lopetegui, of course. No more David Moyes. Which could be a blessing or a curse. We'll see about that. They did finish in 9th also last year, so have them pretty much as they were really, but ultimately just outside the money prizes really. of 8th and beyond. So West Ham into 9th. Into 8th, we do have Newcastle United. I'm going to put them up here. They're in 8th right now. Eddie Howe, again, they were 7th last season, going backwards a little bit. No Europe for them, so they might have a little bit of an advantage over the likes of the teams above them, who will all be playing European football in my eyes. I do think they will make strides, but I think they're, I'm not sure they're making the right investments right now. I think they could lose a couple of key players as well. So Newcastle need to be cautious this season. Looking forward. Alongside them into 7th, we have Chelsea, who did finish 6th last season. I'm going 7th with them. I don't think they made the right appointment with Mark Esca. Yes, they're trying to get the Pep Guardiola 2.0, but Mark Esca was with Leicester last season in the Championship, where I could have fucking gotten promoted in the Championship. I think anybody. I think Owen Coyle could have got promoted with Chelsea, with Leicester City last season. It was that easy, and he nearly threw it away. So I don't think it's the right appointment. I think they'll get it wrong. I think they'll replace him before December, or around about December. And then Chelsea will already be in limbo land and not really make strides moving forward. So 7th place, which is a backward step of 6th. They are, of course, competing for Europa Conference League. They might do well in that competition. But I thought Pochettino was doing wonders at the back end of the campaign. And I did base a lot of my prediction on Pochettino being there. I thought he'd done enough. But obviously Chelsea can't see what's in front of them. So Chelsea in 7th. In the 6th spot, a downgrade in my eyes is Aston Villa. Don't get me wrong. I think they will be competing for top 4, but they are playing Champions League football, which is another level. They did play Europe last season, but this is the top end. It is a new weird Champions League format. I'm not too sure exactly how that will work out. But they could go far in this competition. That will be a strain on resources right now. And do they have the depth to compete in both fronts, Premier League and Champions League? That's, of course, a story for argument. So I think they'll be in 6th spot, maybe a backwards downgrade, perhaps on that one. Then, of course, into 5th, and we have Liverpool. I think Liverpool will again miss out on the Champions League this time. And they finished 3rd under Klopp. They secured top 3 for them, which is fantastic. But under new man Arne Slot, don't get me wrong, I think that appointment might work out in the long term. But it's going to be a new transition for Liverpool. They're going to have to use this season as make weight for the grand prize, and hopefully another a title duel with City in the future, because we're at a transitional point in the Premier League this season. This probably could be Pep's last season. So once he goes, I think the dominance of Man City will take a hit. Don't get me wrong; they'll have a lot of names banded around for the job, but Pep's Pep, and I think once he goes, we might see the titles changing hands a lot more frequently than it has done in recent times. So Liverpool for me into 5th, into 4th. We're going to go with Ange's boys, and that is Tottenham Hotspur. I'm putting them into 4th. They finished 5th last round, just 2 points shy behind Villa. They'll get it right. Maybe a little bit of investment, and there may be a couple more forwards or attacking players to kind of boost the squad here. But I think they got the right coach, and I was a little bit surprised he wasn't lured as well by Liverpool. I thought if Liverpool took Posh Ange off of Spurs, that would have been a right statement of intent. But kudos for Ange for sticking with Spurs, and hopefully he can get it right for their sakes. And at least get back to Champions League football, maybe even compete for a bit of silverware on the same. So 4th for me, it was a progress of 5th. Into 3rd place, we have Manchester United. I'm backing Man United to make progress under Ten Hag, back in the Champions League. I don't think they'll be title contenders, but they'll be Champions League contenders, making progress from 8th to 3rd. It is an 8-point gap they're going to make up between themselves and 4th place Aston Villa to get into the Champions League. But I think they'll do it right. And I think they're backing the coach now, give him a new contract, and I think they'll get it right this time around. Into 2nd spot, of course, it is Arsenal. We don't think any change here right now with Pep charged 2 points adrift. Can they make up that 2 points? It is the games against them. Perhaps they need to win more against the heavyweights. And maybe eradicate the errors. I'm going to go Arsenal into 2nd, but of course Manchester City will be champions once again, unfortunately. So I'm going to put the trophy alongside them as that's where it belongs right now. So I'm going to put Man City top bills. I don't think I think that's pretty much as I had it last time around. I hope I'm wrong. Let me know your thoughts and opinions. Do you agree with that? Do you disagree? Do you think Liverpool can make a progress towards the title under the new coach? And what about Chelsea and Marceska? Is that the right appointment? I don't think so. I really don't think so. And what about my tips for the drop? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. We look forward to seeing you back, of course, for the new season. But until then, subscribe, smash the like, catch you later. But until then, we are done.